So to offer a little bit of a spoiler alert for viewers who have not read the book, A Good Country, you call at least your American readers to look at other countries as examples of what it would take to begin dismantling systemic racism based on both its original and what you're calling the ongoing, or what is the ongoing colonial project. And of course, one of the countries you name is Canada. And I know we've talked about the difference of kind of, as someone who's a practitioner here, when I heard you speak, I remember you talking about kind of acknowledging what's going well in this country. And I know I heard it in the way of no, don't tell people everything's great. And you were not saying that. So let me be clear about that, because I don't want people to be yep, we're good. We're okay. I'm no, we got more to do. And I know we're aligned on that, right? But, so one of the countries you do talk about is Canada, which, again, we've talked about how much work there still is to do. But can you talk about why your message is an important one for Americans, but also a complicated one to present as a Canadian?
So the importance for Americans is that, and to be honest, the important piece for Canadians to hear of that is that it is an extraordinary thing for a colonial state to commit, even rhetorically, even if there's no action on the ground, to decolonizing. And if you go to the Department of Justice website today for Canada, that is the language that's used. The idea of that language in America is entirely aspirational, to the point of being laughed at by American audiences. It's not even on the table. We have a state that will not, we in fact have an electorate that's divided as to whether we need to go back to an early violent colonial model with clear suppression of racial and religious racialized and religious minority populations, and a population that's liberal and looking for that next leap forward to an anti-colonial mindset. That's why you hear discussion about a civil war in the United States right now, because those viewpoints, those aspirations for America are so oppositional. So critical, I think, for Canadians to understand that their southern border, beyond their southern border, these things that are considered sensible policy, by and large, in Canada, certainly with oppositional views at either end of the spectrum, some saying it's not going far, many saying it's not going far enough, many saying it's going too far, for a state agency to say that is really extraordinary. And of course, that's complicated in Canada because there is so much work to do. And there is so much racism on the ground. When First Nations do not have clean drinking water, it's impossible to be complacent with the rhetoric. I'm a strong proponent of land back. There needs to be tremendous change, tremendous power and resource sharing, and guidance, leadership from marginalized communities. So I see all of that, but the message towards Americans is so far from even being able to begin that work, and it means so much to have that foundation of a state that even rhetorically supports those aspirations. That I think it's important to point that out, particularly to an American reader.